Hello, beautiful souls. This is selling through soulful storytelling. This is a pop-up training. If you are jumping on live, this is in the Zoom, and I'm recording this in the Zoom. If you're jumping on the Facebook group, I can't see the comments because I'm in the Zoom, but I've got it opened on my phone. I've got it opened on my phone, so I should be able to see your comments as they come through. If you catch the replay, hashtag replay, let me know you're watching. Let me know what your takeaway is from this training. So, soulful storytelling. Every human has the desire to have deep connection with other humans. We're having this funny, weird experience in humanity where we think we want other things. We think that, more money is going to solve our things. We think that, material things are going to give us what we really want. We have and the collective we, not you and me, but the collective we have this experience. Still, parts of us are responding to the old paradigm of selling in a way and pitching things in a way that is very old paradigm, that speaks to our pain points, that actually fosters fear at many levels in our being. And so where you've had an experience where you've been pressured into buying something, or you've bought something and you've gone afterwards, I don't really think this is what I needed. And if you reflect, and if you look and really tune in to what's being shared, particularly in, on the social media platforms, and all around us, if the sales pitch is pitching to your fears and has you in a place of fear, then it's using old paradigm manipulation tools and preying on that low vibrational energy to get you to move. Now, when you walk the path of sovereignty, when you walk the path of dismantling these old ways, this old paradigm, when you are devoted to walking in fifth dimensional consciousness, when you're 5D activated, you know that it's actually low vibration. It's actually low frequency exchanges that is having you behave and respond and act in ways that are not from your highest self, are not in your highest alignment. And so what I speak to here is that what I'm speaking to is Soulful is selling through soulful storytelling with the intention that the primary intention is to create divine and profound connection with other souls, that you are cultivating your light and that then you are sharing that light with others. And we do that through storytelling. And the powerful thing about storytelling is what storytelling does is it activates our imagination. And one of the experiences that we've had in this version of us, in this time space continuum, is that part of the matrix has had us disconnect from our imagination, from the connection with source, and from clouding and calcifying our pineal, so that we aren't connected with source and that we aren't connected with the earth, so that we are much more easily manipulated. But the stronger your connection with yourself, with Mama Gaia, with source, the more difficult it is to manipulate you. And so now I can go into, I used to avoid getting on sales calls or going to events if webinars and things like that, if I wasn't really in a position to buy or wasn't sure, I wouldn't put myself in that situation because I was subject to being manipulated by the person who was trying to sell to me. Because there's still so many people, even the ones that are selling new earth ways, and there is a lot of smoke and mirrors. There is a lot of this being used in marketing, and it's not authentic. It is not fifth dimensional consciousness. It is not based in sovereignty. It is still based in the old paradigm to prey on your fear, to get you to do something that you're not really, that isn't in your highest good. Now, here's the thing. There may be still layers within you that you still need motivating in some way, that you still need to have fear in order to change the way you do something. If you are like having digestive problems, right? But you just love eating bread, and you just can't bring yourself to give up eating the bread, and you get so much discomfort and so much pain, but the pleasure and the addiction of eating the bread and what you get initially, you are really connected to, and you don't want to give up. And then someone says to you, if you keep eating the bread, you will get cancer, gastrointestinal cancer, and you will die. And then you go, oh my God, I don't want to die. I'm going to stop eating the bread. There is no judgment if at times that's an experience that you need in order to kick your butt into gear to get you to create change. But what I'm referring to is those of us who are light workers, who are actually working on behalf of the light and sharing these and sharing our light and speaking to the higher self and the higher consciousness of others. And we are devoted and co-creating with civilizations of light and supporting the collective shift. It is not in alignment to use fear and manipulation to get people to move. If we do that, what happens is we get people into our programs and into our experiences that aren't actually ready to change. We have to continue to use that same convince motivation. We have to continue to motivate people in order to create the shifts. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is inviting, when we're light workers and when we're sharing the light and walking in the light and devoted to sovereignty, and we're in our leadership, we're sacred CEOs. When we're in that place, we are actually speaking to the higher self of the others, who we're saying, walk with me. We're here doing this together. And you don't need my motivation. You are intrinsically motivated. You've accessed your own memory of your soul mission, of your purpose. And for those of you who don't feel deep, feel really clear yet on that piece, there will be another intrinsic motivation that's within you to find that, to uncover that, to get clarity around that. But it's an intrinsic motivation. And so we don't need to use manipulation and fear tactics to get people to move. I don't want to do that. I don't like it myself. It distorts everything we do. So what we want to do is, this is the invitation that we get to use selling through soulful storytelling. And what that does is, that is sharing true and real stories and or fantasy made up stories in the form of literally, this escaped my mind. metaphors. I was trying to find the word metaphors. So real, authentic stories, if we're sharing about ourselves or our clients, or we're using storytelling to describe and share stories around metaphors to demonstrate certain points. And when we do that, we actually expand our heart consciousness, and we bring light and expansion into our third eye, because we start to imagine and see and feel and sense what it is that's being shared and how it relates to us and how that must feel for that person. And so we go into an experience, and we're out of our mind and out of that 3D reality and into the experience of the feeling and the energy exchange when we do that. And the receiver is going to feel the difference. And so when we are doing this, the most powerful way is to know yourself so deeply, that you are so self-reflective and so self-aware that you can see and face up to and own and not hide from your shadows, um, the parts of you that are not necessarily in like acting from your higher self. And when we know all of that, we embrace all of that, we're able to share the insights that we have come to through our experiences. We're able to share our insights with such clarity, such authenticity, that the message isn't distorted like it is when we are trying to hide something, or we're trying to shift parts of the story because there's something that we're afraid of. We're something that we're afraid of others knowing. And so the journey of knowing yourself deeply and having the insight to recognize what it is that that is the higher purpose of the experiences that you're having. What is the wisdom, and what are the insights, and what are the breakthroughs from these experiences that I'm going through? And making a note of these things, actually spending the time to really recognize, be with them, pay attention to them, to self-recognize and self-celebrate, which is the whole point of this group. The most the biggest transformation I went through was going through an experience of feeling, identifying as a high achiever, and never feeling like I was ever actually achieving anything. I was never reaching the goal because I was changing the goalpost all of the time. And so when I started, and always outside of myself and always looking for outside external validation, when I started to really be with all of myself, all the parts that I wanted to hide and that I, didn't want other people to know about, and self-recognizing every little step of the way, every little celebration, everything that I did that support, every client that I got, every transformation that I helped facilitate, every breakthrough I had in my communication style, because I had such a fear of confrontation. It's celebrating every little win to support me to self-recognize and to have these insights into what I was doing. So this is like a very self-focused experience, a very self-focused exercise. And we know ourselves so deeply that we can see that I can see patterns that were showing up for me in my life. And so in my practice, in my coaching, in my mentorship, in my programs, in the trainings that I facilitate, I can self-recognize the wins and and also self-recognize the patterns that that show up and demonstrate something that is going to support those in my community to do something that they would like to do. And so one of the things, for example, is that I recognize and know myself so deeply that every time I birth a program, every time something comes through me, the experience I have is between when it comes through and the launch of when I make it all into its marketing, I go through a massive initiation to show me where I'm not in alignment with the thing that I'm doing. So when I released a program at the beginning of 2023 called Radiance. And between December, like December when I started the launch process to when the program started in maybe February, between those 3 months was all of the self-beliefs, all of the experiences where I was so far from radiant, my perspective, my perception of radiance, to take me to the journey of radiance, to take me to the place of being radiant, of being in my radiance, of being luminescent. And so in that journey, I went through all of my shadows, all of my limiting beliefs, the purging, all of those things that then by the time I got to the beginning of the program, I was in a place of embodiment that I had moved through the experiences of what had come up of the opposite to my experience of the opposite to radiance. And then in that experience, I recognized that pattern and then noticed that that has happened every single time a program has come through for me. Then in sharing that medicine with my community and with the people in my programs, they self-recognize that that's an experience that they have as well. And so it's through me sharing my soul's experience with them, with my community, with my clients, that becomes medicine for them. So instead of self-judging, instead of the lack of compassion and the getting derailed through those experiences of going through initiations as we birth programs and birth our work into the world, instead of getting derailed and feeling alone and separating yourself from everybody else because you're in shame about what is happening and this experience of feeling not enough and not worthy, instead me sharing my experience from my soul and sharing it through soulful storytelling, not to dump on other people and go, poor me and tell me I'm great. It wasn't like that. It wasn't a dumping experience. It was, this is the insight. This is the breakthrough that I've had. And this is what I now recognize. And here's what I've learned. This is what happens. So now when I have a program come through and it says, this is what I'm called, I go, okay, I know what's coming. I know the journey I'm going to be taken through. And so now these are the things that I've recognized that I do to be able to move through that experience with grace. And of course, it's always surrender. It's always letting go of control and just self-recognizing, being really gentle with yourself, getting support from your mentor so that you can ride the wave of these initiations. And the thing with mentorship, so this is, an incredible mentor that I worked with last year. These are some of the deep and profound insights and nuggets and breakthroughs that I was able to have because I was being held by her to help me see and self-recognize what it was that was happening so I could see the patterns. And one of the things that we know to be true is that the shift in the marketplace is that we sell through connection, we sell through intimacy, we sell through relationship. And so I have to share a piece of me with you so that you can know, like, and trust me, and of course experience the sample, like a sample of what it is to work together. And then in that experience, you then decide, yes, I would like to go deeper. I would like to experience more of that. So there are still people out there that can sell through funnels and different ways of selling and doing it in impersonal ways. But when your services are what they are, when you're sharing your medicine with the world, when the way to grow your business is to have people come into your business, whether it's an MLM, whether it's a direct marketing, affiliate marketing, coaching, mentorship, whatever it is, they are coming in to receive from you, to be with you. And so that means that we have to share a piece of our heart authentically in order for others to move closer toward us. And when we do that, we expand our heart consciousness, we activate our third eye, and then then they are having that same experience. And then if you think about all the people that you're impacting, and they're going into their life and they're in their heart consciousness and they're connected with their imagination and third eye, and then they're at the shop and they're with their children and they're with their friends and they're with colleagues and they're with other clients and they're activating that in others. That's how we overcome the shit show that is the outdated paradigm that's crumbling. We do that through not participating in fear-based selling. We do that through activating our own ability to be vulnerable, to deeply connect, tongue-tied, deeply connect with others, and to soulfully share our stories about us, about our clients, and or about metaphors that demonstrate a point. And we do that and we raise the collective consciousness because we then recognize, this is making me, I'm in fear right now. I'm going to make this decision based on fear. So I'm actually not going to do that because we can feel it. Now, one last little thing, but I want to have a look at the group. I got so excited that I got a head spin. One last little thing. So the last piece is the thing that happens when we go to make a big decision about changing our life. So when we go to make a big decision, it's actually an experience that we can have, that we go into fear about the big change that we're saying yes to. So if we're about to go into a mentorship, if we're about to go, start a business, if we're about to go to the next level of our business, there's a healthy level of fear that is part of our biological system that we want to work with. So I'm talking about the fear where we go, oh my gosh, I hope this is what my soul is telling me to move toward. And my soul is telling me to move toward that. And the fear that's coming up in me is, what if I can't trust myself? What if it doesn't work? What if? These, these fears of our lower consciousness, of our ego, are there to protect us. And as a facilitator, so if you are in a relationship with if you are in a facilitator and client relationship, and so you're the facilitator and someone's coming to you to speak to you about working with you, the way in which we hold space, the way in which we facilitate that client, that potential client, to raise their consciousness, to come into that alignment with their soul's voice and their higher self, is that we acknowledge the fear and we meet them where they're at, and we don't use manipulation to push them through it and ignore it. We actually hold space and we witness it deeply, because we know that those shadows don't exist when we bring light to them, when we hold space for them. So this doesn't mean we don't speak to the fear. This doesn't mean we don't support our client, a potential client, to move through the fear that is part of this version of us, this human experience, because we still have our animal brain, we still have our limbic system. It doesn't mean we don't support them to move through their fear. What it means is that we are sitting there holding space and allowing our own fears of rejection, of no, we're allowing those fears to be cast aside while we are in service, in complete servant leadership to the client that sits in front of us, to support them to move through their fear so that they can step into their highest version. If they got on the phone with you and they wanted to have a conversation with you about working together to find out more, they want to be with you. They want to receive from you. And they might need some help. They might need some soulful storytelling. They might need some stories, authentic and true stories about your experiences and about your clients' experiences, in order for them to be able to move through that fear. So I'm going to leave it there. This is always longer than I intended. Let me know, what did you take away from this transmission, and let me know if you have any questions. And I've got some other trainings planned this week. I've got all of these downloads. I've got this expansion with the Aries energy and coming into this powerful rebirth portal that is Easter. So I'm going to be sharing in here some bits and pieces over the next, between now and Easter Monday. So have a beautiful evening, have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world, and I will speak with you soon.